There was a time I hated hard work. Like most people, I waited for motivation. It rarely came. Then I learned the truth. Waiting for motivation is weakness. So I destroyed my escape routes. I burned the bridge of excuses. I told myself either I rise or I rot. I taught my brain to fear comfort. Comfort is the silent killer of ambition. While others were resting, I forced myself into the storm. At first it was pain, then pain became familiar, then familiar became thrilling. I tied pleasure to progress. Every drop of effort became proof that I was stronger than yesterday. I stopped chasing dopamine from distractions and started earning it from discipline. Each small victory rewired me. My brain stopped craving ease. It started craving achievement. I no longer asked, do I feel like it? I commanded, do it. I owned my mornings before the world could distract me. I flooded my environment with pressure. Books, mentors, competition, accountability. My mind adapted. Pressure became normal. Discipline became default. This is how you trick your brain. You stop seeking comfort and you start seeking conquest. When quitting is not an option, effort becomes automatic. Hard things stop feeling hard. They become who you are. Do not wait for motivation. Command it. Force action until your brain falls in love with the struggle. Because once you do, nothing can stop you. Burn the bridge of excuses. Leave no path back to weakness. The reason most people never rise is because they keep a door open to escape. They say they want success, but they leave a back door unlocked for their old habits to sneak in. They speak of discipline while secretly planning their retreat into comfort. I chose to torch that path. I made comfort impossible. I told my mind there is no going back. There is only forward or failure, and failure is no longer an option. Understand this. As long as you give your mind the option to retreat, it will. The human brain will always choose safety over struggle, comfort over challenge, ease over growth. Unless you make the cost of comfort greater than the cost of effort. I stopped negotiating with my own mind. I stopped asking, do I feel ready? I replaced that question with a command, move. That single shift destroyed hesitation. Excuses are poison disguised as reason. They whisper gently, you can do it tomorrow. You need more rest. You aren't ready yet. And if you listen, they steal your future silently. Excuses don't crash your dreams. They erode them quietly until nothing remains but regret. I looked at my excuses like enemies. I hunted them down and eliminated them. I replaced I can't with I must. Because when something becomes a must, your brain stops looking for a way out and starts looking for a way through. I tied pain to every excuse. I imagined my life if I kept believing them. The wasted potential, the lost years, the mediocrity. That image burned me more than any hard work ever could. And I tied pleasure to discipline. The pride of conquering the day, the thrill of building something no one could give me and no one could take away. I turned discipline from a burden into a reward. The brain follows reward, so I trained mine to see effort as victory. Most people try to change while still keeping their comfort nearby, like trying to swim while clutching an anchor. They wonder why they sink. You must cut the rope. You must make comfort impossible. I made public commitments. I told people my goals so I couldn't back out quietly. I surrounded myself with pressure so quitting would feel humiliating. My environment stopped tolerating weakness, and so did my mind. When the path backward disappears, the path forward becomes clear. When you burn the bridge of excuses, your energy multiplies. You stop wasting mental power arguing with yourself. All your energy points in one direction, forward. That is when your brain transforms. It stops seeking comfort and starts seeking conquest. It stops fearing hard work and starts craving it. Hard things stopped being hard when I stopped treating them like punishment. I treated them like proof. Every tough task became evidence that I was becoming unstoppable. I celebrated struggle. I praised effort. I made my brain addicted to progress. People ask how I stay motivated. I don't. I stay committed. Motivation is a spark. Commitment is fire. And fire is born when you remove every escape. Every morning I begin with this question: if quitting is impossible, what must I do today? That question sharpens the mind like a blade. It erases hesitation. It builds urgency. It silences fear, because fear only thrives when you think you can run away. When there's no exit, Fear becomes fuel. Your brain has no choice but to rise. And that's the secret. Stop giving yourself choices that weaken you. Stop looking for the easy path. Burn it. Stop waiting to feel ready. Act before you feel ready. Stop thinking about how hard it is. Think about how unstoppable you'll be if you do it anyway. When you leave no path back to comfort, your brain has no choice but to transform. I no longer ask if something is hard. I ask if it will make me stronger. I don't count the hours, I count the victories. I don't chase motivation, I manufacture momentum through action. Each time I move when my mind wants to rest, I reinforce a new identity, the identity of someone who cannot be stopped. That identity becomes armor. It becomes automatic. It becomes who you are. Burn the bridge of excuses. Destroy every backup plan. Remove the option to fail quietly. If you do this, your mind will shift from fear to force. You will stop hoping. You will start conquering. Hard things will no longer break you. They will build you. And once your brain learns to love that struggle, nothing and no one will be able to stand in your way. Comfort is the silent thief of greatness. Attach pain to it until it becomes unbearable. The world teaches you to chase comfort as if it's the reward for living. But comfort is the trap that steals ambition while making you feel safe. It whispers you've done enough, rest, take it easy. And each time you listen, a piece of your edge dies. I had to make comfort feel dangerous. I had to see comfort not as a reward, but as the enemy, because as long as my brain believed comfort was safety, it would always pull me away from the hard things that make me powerful. I conditioned myself to feel disgust when I sat idle, when I scrolled mindlessly, when I hid from effort. I imagined what staying comfortable would cost me, the life unlived, the potential buried, the fire in my soul rotting away. I saw myself years later, still stuck, still average, still explaining why I never became who I was meant to be. That image was agony. That pain became the weapon I used to destroy my attachment to comfort. Every time the urge to relax too long crept in, I pictured mediocrity waiting to claim me like a disease. I pictured the regret of wasted years, the hollow feeling of knowing I could have been more but chose to be less. That pain burned hotter than any struggle. It became stronger than temptation. I trained my mind to flinch away from comfort like it was fire, and suddenly the hard path no longer felt like suffering. It felt like survival. Because the truth is this, the comfortable life kills you slowly. It erodes your hunger. It makes your spirit soft. It trades your dreams for distraction and calls it balance. Comfort convinces you to lower your standards, to shrink your vision, to stop reaching. You think you're safe, but you're decaying. And that is why you must make comfort painful. You must connect it with loss. You must make your brain associate every moment of comfort with everything you are sacrificing to feel it. When I sat still, I reminded myself, while I rest, someone else is rising. While I scroll, someone else is building. While I hide, someone else is preparing to win. That thought made comfort taste like poison. It snapped me awake. It created urgency. It made hard work feel like freedom and comfort feel like death. I stopped giving comfort a seat in my life. I removed the distractions that fed it. I broke the routines that encouraged it. I destroyed the idea that comfort was something I deserved. What I deserved was growth. What I deserved was power. What I deserved was the version of myself that only appears when I push past my limits. And that version only comes when you're willing to suffer for it. So I built a new mental law. If it's uncomfortable, it's valuable. If it scares me, it's the path. If it challenges me, it's the gift. If it demands everything from me, it will give me everything in return. This rewired my brain. Effort became exciting. Struggle became sacred. Pain became proof that I was evolving. And comfort became the alarm bell, the warning that I was slipping back into mediocrity. You must make the same switch. Stop seeking what feels good now. Seek what makes you great later. When comfort calls, imagine the years it will steal from you. Imagine the opportunities you will never touch. Imagine the person you could become, fading away because you chose to stay soft. Let that image hurt. Let it sting every time you consider quitting. That pain will push you further than motivation ever could, because motivation fades. Discipline can crack. But fear of dying ordinary, that stays. That fire doesn't go out. That's why you must wire your brain to fear comfort. Fear it more than failure. Fear it more than exhaustion. Fear it more than pain. Pain will shape you. Comfort will erase you. When my body wants rest, I hear a louder voice saying, stay sharp or stay stuck. When my mind craves ease, I remind it ease is the enemy. Comfort is the cage. And I did not come this far to live inside a cage. So I get up, I move, I act. Because action destroys comfort and builds strength. Every great leap in my life came the moment I stopped seeking comfort and started seeking challenge. Challenge awakens the power sleeping in you. Comfort keeps it locked away. If you want to become unstoppable, you must teach your brain to recoil from comfort and run toward discomfort like it's oxygen. Make comfort painful. Make growth irresistible. Let struggle become your default. Then watch how fast your life transforms. Because when you no longer see comfort as a prize, you will stop settling. You will start rising. And you will become the person comfort could never create. Effort is not punishment. Attach pleasure to it until it becomes your greatest thrill. Most people dread effort because they've been trained to see it as suffering. They treat hard work like a prison sentence, something to survive, not something to embrace. I did too. Until I realized that every moment I resisted effort, I was resisting my own greatness. So I rewired the way I thought about work. I stopped seeing effort as pain. I made it my reward. I told my brain, this struggle is proof I am rising. This pressure is the signal that I am powerful. And slowly, effort became addictive. You must understand this. Your brain is always chasing pleasure and avoiding pain. If it believes effort is pain, it will run from it every time. But if it believes effort is pleasure, it will chase it like a drug. That's the secret to unstoppable drive. You don't wait for motivation. You create a reward loop. Every time I pushed through fatigue, every time I conquered resistance, I gave myself praise, not pity. I celebrated the struggle, not the result. My brain learned effort equals pride, effort equals strength, effort equals growth. I stopped obsessing over outcomes and started falling in love with the process. Every drop of sweat, every hour of grind became a victory in itself. I told myself, while others are avoiding the pain, I am becoming unbreakable. That single thought turned effort from a burden into a privilege. It gave me energy when everyone else was drained, because effort wasn't draining me anymore. It was fueling me. It was giving me what comfort never could, identity. Each time you run from effort, you weaken that identity. You train your brain to think weakness is safe and strength is suffering. I flipped it. I told my brain weakness is pain, effort is pleasure, and every action reinforced it. I didn't need to see results instantly. The act of showing up was the reward. The fact that I kept moving when my mind screamed to stop became my badge of honor. I didn't crave easy wins. I craved hard battles because they made me feel alive. You can do the same. The trick is to celebrate effort with intensity. Don't wait until the finish line to feel pride. Feel it the moment you begin. Tell yourself, this is who I am now. I am the kind of person who runs toward the hard things. Say it out loud. Your words are commands to your brain. The more you link effort with pride, the more your brain will chase it. Soon, what once felt exhausting will feel exhilarating. What once felt like resistance will feel like victory. I rewired my dopamine. Most people get it from distraction, scrolling, games, comfort. I stole it back. I gave it to progress. I made my brain celebrate discipline like it used to celebrate escape. That's how you shift from lazy to relentless. The brain does what brings reward. So make effort the most rewarding thing in your life. Even on days I failed, if I gave full effort, I called it a win. Because effort is the seed. Effort is what shapes you. Outcomes can lie. Effort never does. That mindset destroyed my fear of failure. There is no failure when you give everything. Only feedback, only growth. And the more I loved the act of trying, the less resistance had power over me. Now effort is my freedom. It's my weapon. When I'm tired, I smile because it means I'm building. When it's hard, I grin because it means I'm alive. What happens when you link effort to pleasure? Pain loses its power. Doubt loses its voice. Excuses lose their grip. So stop waiting to feel motivated. Stop praying for easy days. Train your mind to crave the grind. Celebrate discipline like others celebrate distraction. Take pride not in the reward, but in the relentless pursuit of it. Fall in love with the climb, not just the summit. Because when effort becomes your pleasure, nothing can break you. That's the transformation. When everyone else avoids the work, you run toward it smiling. When they rest, you rise. When they hesitate, you attack. And that energy becomes unstoppable. Because a person who loves effort cannot be defeated. They only grow stronger. Attach pleasure to effort. Make it your joy, your fuel, your identity, and watch how fast your world changes. Because the moment effort excites you more than ease, you become unstoppable. Massive success is built from microscopic victories. Create micro wins daily until momentum becomes your nature. Most people wait for big breakthroughs to feel proud, and that is why they never build momentum. They starve themselves of progress because they believe only giant leaps count. But power doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from relentless daily inches. I stopped chasing explosions of success and started stacking small wins like bricks. Each micro win became proof that I was moving, proof that I was becoming stronger, proof that I was building something no one could take from me. Here's the truth. Your brain thrives on progress. Even the smallest win triggers pride and energy. Every time you finish a task you wanted to avoid, you train your mind to believe you are capable. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you carve a deeper identity of discipline. Most people break their confidence by setting mountains they never climb. I built mine by conquering hills daily, and over time those hills turned into mountains under my feet. I created rules, complete what I start, honor the smallest commitment, celebrate the tiniest progress. If I said I would write 1 page, I wrote it and counted it as victory. If I said I would train for 10 minutes, I trained and called it a win. I stopped letting my brain tell me it's too small to matter, because that is how momentum dies. Momentum doesn't come from huge bursts. It comes from consistency, from proving to yourself that you keep moving no matter what. This is where discipline becomes automatic. Each micro win rewires your brain. It starts to crave the feeling of completion. It begins associating effort with reward. You stop needing motivation because finishing becomes addictive. I built a rhythm of achievement so strong that skipping a win felt uncomfortable. That's the secret. Make progress feel like oxygen. When progress becomes your default, success becomes inevitable. Big goals used to paralyze me because they felt distant, overwhelming, unreachable. But when I broke them into micro wins, they became inevitable. Instead of thinking about building an empire, I just laid today's brick. Instead of dreaming about transforming my body, I just crushed today's workout. Instead of fantasizing about success, I attacked today's task. And each win gave me proof. Proof kills doubt. Doubt fades when victory becomes daily. The mistake people make is trying to leap 10 steps at once. They burn out, fail, and quit, not because they are weak, but because they built no momentum. Momentum is the hidden force that makes hard work feel effortless. It comes from stacking small wins until your brain believes progress is who you are. When you collect wins every day, effort stops feeling like effort. It becomes identity. I began each day with one question: what is one small win I will conquer before the world even wakes up? That single win lit the fuse. It created energy that carried into everything else. 1 win became 2. 2 became 5. By the time resistance showed up, I was already unstoppable. That's the power of micro wins. They beat resistance before it has time to speak. I didn't wait for motivation, I manufactured it. Motivation isn't magic. It's momentum stacked over time. And momentum is built from small victories repeated until they become who you are. Every time you win, even in a tiny way, you build self-respect. And self-respect is the root of discipline. You protect what you respect, you fight for it, you refuse to sabotage it. This is how champions rise. They don't wake up with superhuman energy. They wake up with a system. They rack up wins before doubt wakes up. They create momentum so strong it drowns out fear, and it all starts with one micro win. So stop waiting for massive breakthroughs. Stop obsessing over the finish line. Start hunting small wins like your life depends on them, because it does. Those small wins will become your armor. They will harden your mindset. They will make discipline automatic. And once your brain is addicted to winning daily, success becomes a habit, not a hope. This is how I became relentless, by making progress so small it was impossible to fail, then stacking it until it was impossible to stop. Create micro wins daily. Protect them, celebrate them, stack them, and watch how fast you transform. Because when you win every day, nothing can stop you. Not fear, not doubt, not resistance. Daily wins create unstoppable momentum, and momentum builds empires. Your mind moves toward what it sees, so make it see the victory, not the labor. Most people drown in the weight of the work because all they picture is the grind. They see the sweat, the exhaustion, the endless steps ahead, and that vision kills their drive before they even begin. I used to do the same. I focused so hard on how difficult the path was that I convinced myself it was impossible, but the mind doesn't follow difficulty, it follows desire. So I stopped feeding my brain images of struggle. I stopped magnifying the labor. I started obsessing over the reward. I built a vision so vivid, so magnetic, that it pulled me forward like gravity. This is the truth. The brain cannot tell the difference between imagination and reality. What you picture becomes what you pursue. If you imagine pain, you'll run from the work. If you imagine glory, you'll run toward it. I made the victory real in my mind. I saw it before it existed. I pictured standing at the summit, breathing power, hearing the silence that only comes when you've conquered something massive. I imagined the pride, the freedom, the transformation. I let myself feel it like it was already mine. That vision lit a fire no obstacle could extinguish. Every time doubt whispered, I closed my eyes and played the movie of my victory. I saw the moment I would look back and say, I did it. That moment became stronger than the fatigue, stronger than the resistance, stronger than the temptation to quit. Because when your mind is locked on the reward, pain becomes irrelevant. Effort becomes automatic. You stop asking, how hard is this? And start asking, how powerful will I become? People fail because they stare at the mountain instead of the summit. They see miles of struggle and forget the reason they started. I flipped it. I stared at the summit so hard the climb felt small. I didn't obsess over the hours, the grind, the setbacks. I obsessed over who I'd be when I broke through. That image gave me more energy than any pep talk could. Motivation fades, but vision endures. Vision becomes fuel. I built rituals around it. Each morning before the day attacked me, I visualized winning. I pictured completing the mission. I felt the emotions I would feel when it was done. Pride, strength, peace. I lived the victory before I earned it, and something powerful happened. My brain started believing it was inevitable. That belief destroyed hesitation. I no longer approached the work hoping it might work. I attacked it knowing it would, and that certainty made me relentless, because your body follows your mind. When your mind sees only struggle, your body resists. When your mind sees triumph, your body obeys. That's why you must feed your brain images of victory so vividly that they eclipse the pain of the process. Pain is temporary, but the picture of who you become will carry you through it. When the work got brutal, I didn't count the hours left. I counted the victories ahead. I imagined the doors this effort would open, the freedom it would buy, the person I'd see in the mirror. That vision pulled me through storms. Discipline alone couldn't handle. Discipline pushes, but vision pulls. When you're pulled by vision, you become unstoppable. This is the shift. Stop asking your mind to endure. Start inspiring it to chase. Stop making the work your focus. Make the win your obsession. Build the reward so clear that your brain can taste it, hear it, feel it. See the crowd cheering, see your bank account growing, see your body transformed, see your family proud. See the peace that only comes when you fulfill your purpose. Live it in your head until your soul believes it's already yours. Once your mind believes it, resistance dies. Effort becomes energy. The work that once felt like suffering becomes sacred because now it's just the bridge to your destiny. You stop dragging yourself forward and start being pulled by the gravity of who you are becoming. That's how I stopped fearing the labor and started loving the fight. Not because the work got easier, but because the vision got stronger. The stronger the vision, the lighter the weight. The more real the reward, the less power the struggle has. Visualize the victory, not the labor. See the finish line, not the miles. See the glory, not the grind. Make that image your obsession. Feed it to your mind until it becomes your default. Because the moment the vision becomes more real than the struggle, you will never stop. Own the first hour of your day, and you seize control of your destiny. Most people lose their power before they even begin. They wake up and immediately surrender their mind to distractions, to noise, to chaos. They check their phones, react to the world, and let life dictate their direction. And then they wonder why they feel behind, scattered, and powerless. I used to start my days like that, and every goal slipped through my fingers. But the moment I took back my first hour, everything changed. The first hour is the throne of your mind. Whoever controls it controls you. I decided the first hour of my day would belong only to me, to my mission, to my growth. No messages, no notifications, no distractions, just silence, structure, and self-command. Because how you start is how you continue. Chaos at the start breeds chaos all day. Discipline at the start creates momentum that crushes resistance before it even wakes up. I trained my mind to expect power in the morning, and power became my default state. The first hour is where identity is forged. It's where you tell your brain who you are before the world tries to tell you who to be. If you waste it, you build an identity of reaction. If you master it, you build an identity of domination. I made my first hour sacred. I rose before the world while it was still silent, and I attacked my goals before anyone could interrupt them. That gave me a weapon, momentum, and momentum is what kills procrastination. I stopped saying, I'll get going later. Later is where dreams die. I chose to win early. My first hour became a launch pad, movement, reading, writing, planning, small acts, massive impact. The point wasn't volume, the point was victory. That first victory, no matter how small, rewired my brain. It said, I am in control. I choose my path. I move when others sleep. That single thought made me unstoppable. Here's what happens when you control your first hour. Your confidence rises, your focus sharpens, and your energy multiplies. While the world drifts, you build. While others react, you attack. You get to the battlefield already armed, already winning. And that psychological edge is everything. Success isn't about talent or luck. It's about momentum. And momentum begins with the first disciplined hour. Most people think they need motivation to start strong. They wait for energy. But energy is created by movement. The act of winning your first hour creates the energy you thought you lacked. That's why it's so powerful. One disciplined hour detonates a chain reaction. It becomes proof to your mind that today will be yours. And once your mind believes that, nothing can stop you. I stopped living like a follower of the day. I became its master. My phone stayed off. My vision stayed on. I fed my mind clarity, not noise. I fed my body movement, not laziness. I fed my spirit silence before the world could infect it with chaos. And every day I did this, my results multiplied. Not because the work got easier, but because I became unshakable before the work even started. The world will always try to steal your attention. That's its job. Your job is to protect your power. And the only way to do that is to seize the first hour before the world can touch it. Make it your fortress. Guard it like your life depends on it, because your future does. If you lose the first hour, you spend the rest of the day trying to recover. If you win it, the rest of the day bows to you. This is the truth. You can't control the chaos that comes later, but you can control the first hour. And that control gives you leverage over everything that follows. It turns the day from an enemy into an ally. It makes you proactive instead of reactive. It makes you powerful. So stop giving your first hour away. Stop waking up and handing your mind to distractions. Stop starting your days like the average. Half asleep, half lost, half committed. Rise with purpose, move with intent, attack with clarity. Make the first hour your throne, your battlefield, your sacred ground. Because once you control your first hour, the rest of the day cannot defeat you. And when the day cannot defeat you, nothing can. Pressure is not your enemy. It is the silent architect of greatness. Most people run from pressure like it's fire, but the truth is, it's the forge that shapes steel out of soft metal. If you want to trick your brain into loving hard things, you must place yourself in environments where your comfort zone cannot breathe. When there's no room for slacking, when every eye expects you to rise, your brain stops negotiating and starts performing. The human mind adapts fastest under urgency and accountability. If you make life too soft, your potential stays asleep. If you make life demanding, your potential roars awake. Pressure is not meant to crush you. It is meant to call out the version of you that only shows up when there's no other option. Think about soldiers in battle, athletes in championship games, or entrepreneurs racing deadlines with their entire fortune on the line. They don't have time to debate motivation. They act, they execute, they push. And they do it not because they feel like it, but because the pressure around them demands it. Pressure silences hesitation. It wipes out the luxury of overthinking. It corners your brain until it must decide, break, or break through. When you surround yourself with pressure, you eliminate the space for doubt to grow. Your brain gets a new message, not this is optional, but this is survival. That single shift can unlock energy you didn't know you had, but most people never taste this power because they design lives with no stakes. They keep tasks private so failure won't sting. They hide goals from others so no one will know if they quit. And then they wonder why motivation vanishes. The truth is, motivation evaporates in comfort. It multiplies under watchful eyes. When you tell the world what you intend to do, when you announce a deadline, when you attach your reputation to your effort, you transform effort from something nice into something necessary. That necessity ignites your mind. It activates hidden energy reserves that comfort will never summon. If you want to rewire your brain to crave hard things, start engineering pressure into your environment. Commit publicly. Create deadlines that bite. Surround yourself with people who expect more from you than you do from yourself. Join groups that operate at the level you want to reach. Place your pride, your name, and your future on the line. Your brain will resist at first. Fear will scream. But that is the signal that you are finally entering the arena where growth lives. Pressure has a way of shrinking fear once you move. It forces your brain to prioritize execution over hesitation. You stop asking, can I, and start proving I must. Remember, the strongest steel is forged under the hottest flame. Without the heat, it remains soft, bendable, ordinary. You are no different. Without pressure, your potential stays hidden, idle, dormant. But when you surround yourself with pressure, when you burn the escape routes and stand before the world with nothing but your will, you awaken something extraordinary inside you, the version of you that performs not because it is easy, but because it is demanded. That version is who you are meant to be, and it only comes alive under pressure. Stop whispering wishes to yourself. Start issuing commands. Your brain is not a suggestion box, it's a soldier awaiting orders. When you treat your thoughts like soft wishes, they drift away like smoke. But when you speak with authority, when you declare what will be done as if it's law, your mind locks onto that order with ruthless focus. This is how you trick your brain into embracing hard things, by removing the illusion of choice. Wishes make things optional. Commands make them inevitable. The language you use on yourself decides whether your future is built or abandoned. Most people sabotage themselves not through laziness, but through weak language. They say, I'll try, I hope, or I should, and with those words, they give their brain an escape route. The moment your brain hears doubt, it eases off the throttle. It looks for reasons to stop, excuses to delay, distractions to justify quitting. But when you say, I will wake up at 5, or I will finish this by midnight, or I will train no matter how I feel, your brain gets no room to negotiate. It understands the mission is final, it obeys, it acts. And the more often you speak in commands, the faster your mind adapts to obeying without argument. Commands slice through hesitation. They turn effort from a debate into a duty. The moment you say, I must, you activate a deeper part of your mind, the part wired for survival, the part that doesn't wait to feel ready. This is the same mental shift that drives soldiers to move through chaos, athletes to push through pain, and pioneers to endure storms while building empires. They don't operate on hope, they operate on orders. Their inner dialogue isn't, "I wish I could," it's, "Do it now." That shift in tone transforms weakness into power. Every time you give yourself a command and follow through, you harden the link between thought and action. You teach your brain that what you say becomes real, that trust becomes a weapon. Suddenly, your mind starts moving the second you speak. There's no stalling, no delay, no internal rebellion, just execution. And once your brain learns that your words are orders, not opinions, discipline becomes automatic. Effort becomes instinct. Momentum becomes your nature. But you must be relentless in this. One soft phrase can shatter the chain. If you speak commands one day and drift back to vague wishes the next, your brain stops taking you seriously. It starts waiting to see if you really mean it. You must speak like a general giving orders to an army. Clear, firm, unshakable. "I will finish this. I will not stop. I will rise at dawn. I will dominate this challenge." The tone matters. The certainty matters. Your words must feel like promises carved in stone. This is not about arrogance. It is about clarity. When your mind receives a command, it stops entertaining distractions. It stops running in circles. It zeroes in. The fog of doubt clears. Hard things stop looking like mountains and start looking like steps. This is how empires are built, not on wishful thinking, but on unbreakable orders carried out daily, hour by hour, without emotional permission. So stand before your life like a commander before an army. Issue your orders. Eliminate weak language from your mouth. Speak in absolutes, not possibilities. Tell your mind what will be done, and then move before it has time to question you. Because the moment you do, something powerful happens. Your brain stops acting like your master and starts serving as your weapon. And when that shift takes hold, there is no hard thing you cannot conquer. Quitting is the only habit that guarantees failure, and you must kill it before it kills your destiny. Every dream dies the moment you give quitting a vote. The path to anything great is littered with walls, delays, pain, and doubt, but none of those obstacles have the power to stop you unless you stop yourself. The only way to truly lose is to walk away. That's why you must build an unshakable rule in your mind: I will not quit. No matter how hard, how slow, or how hopeless it feels, I will not quit. This is not negotiable. This is your code. Most people fail not because they are incapable, but because they make quitting an option when it gets uncomfortable. They tell themselves they'll try again someday, not realizing someday never comes. They let temporary struggle convince them it's permanent defeat. But struggle is not a signal to stop. It is proof you are in the arena where champions are forged. When you refuse to quit, you turn pain into progress and resistance into strength. Every rep, every late night, every setback becomes raw material fueling your rise. Quitting may offer momentary relief, but it steals your future. It whispers comfort now while quietly burying the life you could have lived. When you walk away, you teach your brain that comfort matters more than purpose, and it will start pulling you back to comfort every time life gets tough. That's how people become trapped in cycles of almost starting and never finishing. They never give themselves enough time to break through the wall because they surrender the second it gets heavy. Refusing to quit flips the script. It rewires your mind to see obstacles as detours, not dead ends. It tells your brain, we finish what we start. That command triggers a different kind of energy, a fierce determination that outlasts exhaustion, outlasts fear, and outlasts doubt. Suddenly, your brain stops asking, can I keep going? And starts declaring, I will find a way. And once your mind commits to finding a way, the way appears. It always does. Understand this, every